Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Montessori Moments. I want to talk to you today about a topic that I used to teach every year in my classroom. Sometimes it had to be more than once. It's about the human body. Sometimes it came up naturally, like when a child walked out of the bathroom naked, and around the room there were cries of, "Ew!" Sometimes I introduced it as part of an art lesson. Picasso had a lot of nudes. My message is always the same. The body is an amazing work of art and engineering, and there is nothing gross or wrong with the human body. When I speak to children, I point out that they have basically all the same parts as anyone else, with the exception of their genitalia. Yes, I always use correct language, and so should you. Do you remember the 1990 film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kindergarten Cop? At circle time, one boy shares, "Boys have a penis and girls have a vagina." Turns out his parents are OBGYNs. But at that time, everyone giggled and Arnold was horrified. Was this child correct with the information he was giving? Yes. The truth is, I don't want a 20-something who, as a child, did not have correct language, and that 20-something is now referring to her hoo-ha, right? Using correct vocabulary from the beginning gives children real information and show you are not glossing over certain subjects. You want your child to come to you with questions, not be Googling it, or worse, asking their friends. I recommend parents read the book Talking to Your Kids About Sex and Turning the Talk into a Conversation for Life. It's by Dr. Laura Berman. It really goes through kind of a step-by-step, starting with correct vocabulary and then moving on to more and more topics as a child gets older. It is also really important to talk to children about their bodies being their own. No one should touch your child without their consent. I set the standard at school by requiring children to ask me for a hug versus rushing up to me and grabbing my legs. This serves several purposes. First, it ensures I don't have a bunch of small children all smashed up against my legs at one time. Second, it gives me a chance to bend down and look the child in the face versus them hugging my legs. And lastly, it requires the child to gain my consent before touching my body. That word, consent, I'm sure you hear it a lot. And yes, it applies to very young children. The teachers and I always ask students if they would like a hug. We never force a hug on them. Some children want that connection when they're upset, and others want to be left alone. It should be their choice. When we can travel again, children may be meeting grandparents or aunts and uncles for the very first time. Even if they have seen them over the computer screen, it isn't the same as knowing them. Please do not force your child to hug people they do not know. Ask, "Would you like to give Grandma a hug? She has really missed you." This shows that you are giving permission, but respecting a child's comfort level. Grandparents may feel a little bit hurt at first, but your child will begin to connect with them and they will come around and want that hug. And it makes it more special because it's a real connection, not a forced connection. We never want children to feel they do not have control over their own bodies. This is a slippery slope you do not want to go down. I recommend reading the book with your children, My Body Belongs to Me. Have discussions about the situations in the book. Who's allowed to see your body? Not that there's anything wrong with the human body, but there's a time and a place. Only parents, maybe grandparents or a nanny if they give baths, and the doctor are allowed to see your body. It is also important to teach your child that no one touches and they do not touch anywhere a bathing suit covers. So if you reach hands down front, back, and across, these are places a bathing suit covers. You do not allow anyone to touch you in those places, and you do not touch other people in those places. So a lot of high-profile cases have come to light very recently, over the last couple of years, about athletes who have been sexually abused by their doctors, the people who were supposed to be looking out for their best interest in their health. These athletes felt they could not come forward because there was something wrong with them, or they might not be believed, or their careers might be ruined because they came forward. By starting early with correct education and asking children to govern their own bodies, we can hopefully prevent these types of horrible things from happening again. It is true that we teach children not to hit, to always be kind to others. This does not apply to someone touching them inappropriately. It is okay for them to hit, kick, or push someone who is touching them inappropriately, which is anywhere the bathing suit covers, right? They should also shout, "Don't touch me. This is my body." Speaking up now means growing strong enough to speak up later. I will be reading the book, My Body Belongs to Me, From My Head to My Toes, in Storytime with Miss Jolie. See you next time for another Montessori moment.